week, we decided to retire early after finding out about the incoming death comet. And we discovered that there are places in the U.S. where mosquitoes are somehow even worse than here. So put your seats and tray tables upright, and don't forget to pressurize the cabin. It's time for another episode of...
Is it that time again? Oh my God, it's that time again! Robot lady, sound the alarm!
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen. It's yet another week of Another Wasted Hour. I do not know why we keep doing this. I'll be honest. There are a lot of other things we could do even better. We could build model airplanes. We can make little figurines. I know, Adam, you already do that, but you could be doing that with this time, and we're not.
But none of those things just indulge our sense of narcissism that a podcast does.
That's true. Unless the figurines were us. Unless we were painting versions of ourselves and we're like, damn, that is sharply dressed. But anyhow, welcome to another wasted hour. As you guys know, the next hour of your life is going to be replaced with two ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions we have no right to have, which are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. Our goal here at Another Wasted Hour is to convince you that where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C., is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture, as impossible as that may seem. So listeners, now that you know why you're here, from a nearby phone booth, we have our guest today, Emma G.
Hey.
Hello, Emma. Now,
I'm trying not to laugh too much at what you're...
Well, good. Now you're set free, Emma. You can now...
Oh, I will laugh.
Yes.
Oh, watch me. Okay.
So people probably don't know why I said that from a nearby phone booth, but we have a track from you today that you're going to be debuting,
Yes.
right? And it's called Superhero. So
It is.
You're going to be a superhero. This is
I'm
great.
super excited.
Exactly. And you're going to be doing a whole track release. There's a video coming out for it, which is great. I watched that. Very well done. And you're going to be celebrating that with a show on Saturday, September 29th. Right? Mm-hmm. And that's at Dangerously Delicious Pies.
Yes. They're
in
so
Washington,
delicious,
DC.
it's dangerous.
Yes. Because
You had the whole last episode to try to get that one right, Keith, and you still can't do it.
I know. So last episode, we promoted the show right before your show.
At the same venue.
Yeah, on
Amazing.
Friday.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So Menage a Garage, you could go see Menage a Garage, just sleep at Dangerously Delicious Pies, wake up, Emma G. It's the best weekend ever.
For real, at least they have pies, right?
Yeah, it's like camping except without the outdoors and with a lot of pies, which makes camping better.
You know, so I'm originally from New Zealand, and we are all about pies.
Yeah.
And it's very exciting. Everybody's like super, yes, you should be having a pie celebration for your...
So not a cake state.
No,
not at all.
State is a country.
Well, it's a state, like the State of the Union, they're different actor states.
I
right?
know. I'm just being an asshole, and
That's okay.
giving
I
you
like
shit.
you that way. That's what you should do. You should just come at us.
Yes.
You come at us,
Yes.
and then we'll be like, we're sorry. 'Cause
like throwing pies, right?
Yeah, we're
Okay.
very respectful. So speaking of respectful things,
Yes.
we are recently just coming home. I was listening to the radio, and we had a maybe not the most respectful thing I've heard on the radio. There was the hearings happening for Brett Kavanaugh, and there's a lot of contention going on there. I don't know if you got to listen to this, but there's a lot of people in a room not happy with each other at all.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the state of things,
Everything.
full stop at the moment.
Right. Just everyone hates each other and everybody else is the devil.
Yeah, and I mean I don't often listen to the radio unless I'm in the car.
Sure.
So I didn't
Makes
actually
sense.
listen to the opening hearing until I was actually on my way here, and suddenly all my Facebook feed posts kind of made sense. Like there's a lot
Yeah.
across the world.
So you-
People, everybody's got an opinion at the moment.
So you don't have like an 80s Walkman that you just always listen to the radio on?
I wish I still had my Walkman. I miss my Walkman. I think
I just
the
found
last
mine.
tape I listened to, what? You found yours?
I just found mine, yeah.
She will buy
I-
it from you.
Legitimately, like I have very fond memories of listening to my Walkman, listening to a combination between the Spice Girls and Boston.
That is a
Very odd
really
combo.
crazy combination. That's awesome.
I mean, sorry, not sorry.
We're just another band out of Boston. And if you want to be my lover, you got to get with my friends. from Boston. Yeah, it's interesting because it's almost a microcosm of what the last like year has been, right? The last year with the Me Too movement and things like that is a lot of people saying, hey, there's a lot of shit going down and people aren't aware of it, but it's happening everywhere and we should do something about it. And then we have a Supreme Court justice that's coming up and they're like, oh, yeah, that also happened. And now we're like, oh, this is so close to home.
I don't think it's just the people I don't think it's so much that people aren't aware of it.
Yeah.
I think it's that it makes people uncomfortable.
Oh, it definitely does.
And I think that's what's making people like, nah, fuck this, I'm out. Like,
I mean, on all levels, right? That's the gist of what's really wrong, right? Is because let's put up hypotheticals, right? If something like this happens to a woman, that's a super uncomfortable thing to like report, right?
Oh yeah.
If a guy does something and let's say hypothetically it was a complete mistake, didn't mean to like cause that issue. Now it's super uncomfortable for him too, because he's like, holy shit, like did I attack somebody? Like, so there's uncomfortable. Like, and then you have like, when people do come out, that's uncomfortable. When other people hear about it, they're like, well, I don't want to talk. Like everything's uncomfortable.
Everything's uncomfortable. And I think a really helpful, potentially, way of looking at it is like, if a man got attacked in a similar respect by a woman, how uncomfortable would that be for him to then come forward? Like, oh, but, you know, this happened to me, but my body responded in such a way that, because, you know, what is it? 2 out of 5 men, I think, is the statistic that I read recently. They do get sexually assaulted regularly, but no men report it.
No.
You know?
Well, because you wouldn't. Because if you did, people would laugh at you.
And yet there's so much grief and anguish being thrown at, her name escapes me right now. Dr.
Ford,
thank you.
Yes.
You know, about why she didn't come forward.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's obvious why you wouldn't come forward about it, because it's incredibly uncomfortable, embarrassing, humiliating.
And victim shaming.
Right. Just in general, it's a terrible position to be in. Nobody's ever been like, you know, I got sexually assaulted and then I'd really like to go on national TV and talk about it. Like, that's not on the radar, right? Like,
for most people,
people don't. I know people who have gone through it. People who are very close to me. They didn't want to talk to their parents about it. They didn't want to talk to their friends about it. They just wanted to like curl up in a ball and have it all go away. That's what they want. They didn't want to be like, let's go talk to police. That sounds like fun.
And revisit it over and over and over again in my head. Yeah.
And so I get that, right? And so there's a piece of me that goes, man, that there's not a lot of advantage to doing this. Like, if you're going to say like, well, there's ulterior motives, like, I don't get it. If you're going to say like, well, she just didn't like Kavanaugh and didn't want to be a Supreme Court justice, so she made this all up. I'm like, that's a real long throw, right? Like, you really have to like huck it for that one, right? And now the position I am hearing is like, hey, we have a rule of law. You have to have evidence. You can't just like take action on someone if we can't prove that happened. And, you know, we ran into that with O.J. Simpson. He walked away and we all had to be like, that seemed weird. Like, everyone in agreement that was maybe not above board. Okay.
But at least there was a hearing and there was time for that hearing to happen.
Right.
The O.J. Simpson case dragged on for years.
For years
and years and years. And, you know, and again, he went through some similar grief that Dr. Ford is going through. But the difference is Dr. Ford's hearing, you know, there is no time for the evidence to be processed or presented.
Yeah, that's weird,
everything's
right?
been rushed so super quick. And so when you add that victim blaming, victim shaming, as well as the death threats, as well as how uncomfortable it is to revisit what it's like to be sexually assaulted in the first place, and how traumatizing that is for a person. And again, I'm speaking from experience.
I'm sorry about that, by the way. I didn't
Oh, it's okay.
That.
That's okay. We didn't talk about that in the pre-interview interview.
No, I mean the sexual assault. I'm sorry about that. It was a misunderstanding.
It's okay.
I was drunk.
Wow, you went there. Okay. Ooh, that is a made-up story.
That is a completely
fake news.
I'm not going to make it into the Supreme Court anyway.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, to go through all of that and then have that all rushed and gone through it's just. For the bloody Supreme Court, which is a position that it's a lifelong appointment, you know, and
Well, and that's the thing that I think is important here, right?
It's crazy.
If we are hearing that what needs to happen is there needs to be evidence, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we should probably take a moment and have an investigation, because that's where evidence usually comes from, right? Unless we're just
Mostly,
asking the general public to be like, if you've heard about something, just bring it up. We'll trust you, because that's not working yet. So maybe we have some type of bureau that does investigations. I hear they're good at it.
I hear that that's an actual thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So I understand. First of all, I get it. The Republicans are concerned vote-wise. They're going to lose votes. They may not get their guy in. Of course, they want to get their guy in. Democrats want to get their guy in or girl in, right? Like their person is who they want on the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to happen until November, right? So why not just take a month and let things figure out? And we go, yeah, we weren't able to turn up any evidence. It's unfortunate what may have happened, but there's no way of proving it. And so we're going to move forward.
Yeah.
Or at, worst case scenario. Or you go, hey, we found some shit and none of us want him on the Supreme Court, right? I mean, because if you go like, well, we found it's all true, but he's still good now. Then I'm going to be like, whoa, hold on a second. So yeah, why don't we it was like 14 months the last seat was open for, right? So I don't know what the rush is. Like, I get it before November, but until then.
I think part of it is everybody wants to make their mark at the moment, right? Like, it's however many days that 45 has been been our president. Yeah. And he wants to go down in history as the dude who's made it all happen.
Yeah.
And
that's true.
I think that's, I don't know. This is just such a strange time.
Here's the thing that I think we need to.
Such a weird time.
We're almost we're running out of time here, but I think there's an important point that we all have to look at, right? And that is, so if you want to go by the letter of the law, we don't have proof of what happened or it didn't happen. We have a pretty good idea of what probably happened, right? Just because of the circumstances and how the psychology of that works. But we do have proof of one thing that I think is incredibly disturbing. Matt Kavanaugh has a copy of his calendar. Brett Kavanaugh has a copy of his calendar from high school. Like, that is some serial killer stuff, right?
That's weird.
Right? They showed it.
I don't even have my high school journal.
I can't find my calendar from last year, and it's on Google. Like, I don't. Right. This guy literally has a thing that says like spring break, and it's like from high school. And I'm like, wait, how did you know where to find that? I have boxes of old things, and literally I wouldn't be able to find anything in them. He was like, just a minute. I wrote that down. And I'm like, whoa,
how is that not immediately suspect?
Right. Like to me, I'm like, I can't have him on the Supreme Court, because that's like,
he's creepy shit, yo.
Right. Like,
for real.
Right. Like, he's got a shrine or something that I'm not okay with. All right. Well, there it is. It's tumultuous times. Hopefully, I don't know where I land on it. Part of me hopes that it never actually happened and that there wasn't a victim. And I go, oh, thank God, just somebody was a lunatic. And thank God, out of all of the attacks that have happened, that one wasn't real. Part of me goes like, I kind of hope that. And part of me hopes that whatever it is, the truth comes, or the whole of me says, I want the truth to come out one way or another.
I think that's a really interesting point, because I think that's what happened in 2016 in the first place. I hope that it's all going to be okay.
Right.
I hope that the country is going to be fine. I hope that he doesn't screw things up. I hope that
Yeah.
And now here we are. So hope is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, we still need to have positive action in a positive direction.
Yeah. Call your representatives, vote, go march on things that you believe in. Just participate, everybody. Just participate. That's the thing that we do for government. Otherwise, they run away with it. So, and trust me,
that note,
Democrat or Republican, we don't want them running away with it. They'll do crazy things. We want to rein them in and be like, hey, just
have a conversation,
a little closer. Let's talk. All right. So great conversation. I think that's a really valuable thing. More importantly, now that we've talked about some news that happened, we want you to kind of judge some news for us.
Judging news?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So we
exciting.
are going to make you the editor-in-chief, or chief desk perhaps, of your own publication.
Okay.
We're going to pitch you some stories. We've got 8 stories that we're going to pitch you. You get to decide which ones make it in and which ones don't.
Okay. Or can I call this publication G News, like E News?
Oh, yeah.
But like G for emoji.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Nobody's like, nobody knows what the G stands for. That's what makes it magic.
That's the magic behind it. All right. Yeah.
Okay.
You're the first person to name it before we've started, but I like that.
I'm sorry.
You're a go-getter.
I got very excited.
Yeah. You're driven. This is good for an editor-in-chief. That's what's needed, right? That drive.
I'm hungry.
A lot of the time we have
Give
to wait 30
news.
seconds for the artist just to say,
I'm going to call my publication
no, we're
Turnip.
good.
Yes.
Turnip. Yes. All right. So let's roll into this. We're running a little behind, so let's do this.
Okay.
We'll let Adam start because he whines if we don't let him.
Okay.
Oh, I got the hat trick of starting now.
See? It's a thing.
Airline passengers' ears and noses bleed after pilots, quote, forgot to pressurize cabin.
Airline passengers' ears and nose bleed because the pilot forgot to pressurize the cabin.
Yeah.
Yes.
That sounds like a horror film. They're like, you're thinking that the movie started already while you're on this flight because you're like, oh my God, you're bleeding. I'm bleeding. We're all bleeding. We have
It's
Ebola.
the plague.
Yeah.
It's the plague.
The story kind of shocked me because, everyone knows, even at a basic level, how many checklists there are to flying a plane.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Even in an emergency. We all saw that movie a couple years ago about when the guy landed the plane in the river in New York. Captain Ron, I think it was, or something like that. And
that was almost
even
Tom Hanks,
then,
right?
Yes,
The
Tom
movie
Hanks.
Tom
Yes, Tom Hanks did
as
it.
Captain Ron. But
Go Tom.
so even in the midst of checklists.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you forget to pressurize the cabin?
It seems it would be high, like it would be in bold letters or something, right?
Yeah.
Like not kill people.
Hit this switch to get away safely. Pressurize the cabin. Make sure you signal this guy. Did you pressurize the cabin?
Check to see
Turn
if
off
there-
the brakes.
Okay.
Did you pressurize the cabin?
Are there any snakes on the plane?
Yeah, I was going to say, are there any motherflipping snakes on this motherflipping plane? And are their ears and noses bleeding? Like, I want to know these things.
That's true. Yeah. Do they even have blood? I don't know anything about snakes. I'll be honest.
I've held a few when I was a hiking instructor in Massachusetts and Connecticut.
That's fun.
Yeah, sure. We don't have snakes in New Zealand. It scared the crap out of me, but
That's why New Zealand is better than Australia.
This is true.
Right?
This
That's
is true.
one more
that's
reason.
one reason why New Zealand's better than Australia.
New Zealand not
Just
constantly trying to kill you while you're there. Australia, murder continent.
Yeah, well,
It is.
that's another story.
Spiders and snakes and
That's a country that's founded on criminals. Anyways, I love Australia. I do.
They're not listening.
You say that.
I don't know. We found out last week the Italians were listening.
The Italians were listening. Oh gosh, that sounds like
So
fun.
is
Okay,
it news?
Is that a story that I want in my publication?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with as horrifying as I am, as horrified as I am. I feel like that's just not quite the demographic that I want for my G News publication.
That's fair.
Because people will be frightened to travel. I travel all the time.
Yeah.
And
No, that's fair. So
I don't want to die.
that's your brand. You don't want to read
Don't
it.
kill me. I don't. Yeah.
What you're
if I don't
saying
want to
is-
read it, if I don't want to read it, I don't want other people to read it.
All right, fair enough.
That sounded a lot like no. That's not what I meant. Anyways, carry on.
30-year-old Buffalo Bills player retires from football in the middle of the game. He said he realized he quote shouldn't be out there anymore. Yeah, so at halftime they were losing, right? And he walked into the dressing room. He just got undressed, put on his street clothes, and he just left. Like he didn't even sign anything. He was just like, I'm done being a football
Peace in the
player.
Middle East.
Yeah.
We out of here.
Which, good for him, right? You're like, wow. He made up his mind. He was like, I'm done. I'm retired. As of last minute, I'm retired.
Okay, from a marketing perspective, I feel like this is a story I do want to cover.
Yeah.
Because there are so many opportunities for follow-up stories there that I don't even.
Well, it's
that's
amazing.
ridiculous.
Right? Because we've only had a few stories like that. You had Tillman, who was he was a cornerback, I think, for Arizona, and he went and enlisted in the army and ended up dying overseas and stuff.
Jeepers. Okay.
And you're like, wow, he gave up a multi-million-dollar career to go serve his country. That's amazing, right? This guy, this year, he was making $4.3 million, and he was like, I don't want to work anymore. And I was like, wow. Because now, don't get me wrong. you know what? Football is a very dangerous sport. We're already learning about all of the concussions and things like that can happen. It can affect you the rest of your life. But for $4.3 million, you can basically come up every day for a year and punch me in the nuts. And I will be like, I love this job. I
find, okay, so real talk, I'm trying to like get into football.
Right.
When I think of football, I think of soccer.
Soccer, yeah.
And when I think of like a real sport, I think of rugby because I come from a country of rugby, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of injuries that happen in football, despite
the All Blacks, is that a group?
Yeah, the All Blacks.
Look at that! Boom!
But they don't have any like padding or helmets or anything, and they have
I think the most they do is tape their ears.
Sorry, they have tape in the ears.
I think the most they do for padding is just taping their ears.
I mean,
so they rip off. Yeah. No, it's crazy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know.
The All Blacks. That's a rugby team, right?
That is.
Look at that. I named a rugby team.
Check you out. You know stuff.
Look at that. Oh. No, absolutely. Rugby is just insane because there's not even like downs, right? You don't finish a play and go like, everyone, let's walk back over here. We've got
Everyone
about 30
drink,
seconds.
Huddle up.
Yeah, I'm gonna have some Gatorade.
The stop and start of football just confuses me. So like, I just like, why are you stopping? The ball.
It's right there. Just pick it up.
And
Run
keep
with
running.
it.
Gosh. But
all right. So is it news?
It is.
It is
because there's an interesting follow-up story.
Yeah.
There's so many follow-up stories.
There are definitely.
And then I want to bring in the rugby football drama as well, because
that would be way harder to do in rugby because you would have to walk off during the game. You'd just be like, I'm out. Like off of the pitch, you would just like walk off, and they'd be like, "Is he coming back?" I don't. That was weird. All right, what do you have, Adam?
All right. Well, by the time this podcast airs, it'll be October, so I figured this was a very good seasonal article. Spooky skull-like death comet asteroid to zip past Earth just after Halloween.
What?
Spooky skull-like comet rushes past Earth.
I think he said death in there.
Death comet.
Death comet.
Yes.
So I don't
even care what the article's about. I want that. A death comet, definitely.
Nice. I'm putting that in 3 times.
Because when NASA spotted it in October of 2015.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna. There's just no way to try to make this sound more professional than it is. It looks like a frickin' skull.
That is metal as fuck.
It's just a flaming skull through space.
It's just a flying skull through space they think is a dead comet, because normally, comet's the one with the tail behind it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
But it doesn't have that. But because of how much light it reflects, they think it used to be a comet that just died and is now just flying through space.
That's amazing.
It's probably Thanos' head.
And so now about 2 years later...
Die, Thanos. Seriously.
So now about 2 years later after we found it, it'll be coming by again. They say despite the name Death Comet, you don't have to worry because it will be around 24 million miles away from Earth.
Mm-hmm.
That seems far.
But... I think this is just proof once again that we're in the Matrix, that there's literally a skull-shaped asteroid that flies by every 2 years on Halloween.
I am so happy about this story. This definitely goes in G News. Thank you.
Yeah, there we go.
At this point, the modders for the Matrix just aren't even trying.
No,
they're not even trying.
No,
they're like, let's see if they even notice. Look what I'm going to do. Death Comet. All right.
Skull-shaped Death Comet.
Yes. Man accused of rubbing produce on his butt in Northern Virginia grocery store.
I read that story.
Did you? You were like, I need to know more.
So that's okay. Where do I go with this? I don't often buy produce in grocery stores because I never know things like that. You know, like my mother actually, and this is in New Zealand.
If it makes you feel better, he didn't buy them either.
I mean,
you said you don't buy them.
No,
but you just rub them on your butt and just put them back?
Shh, don't tell everybody. Gosh. It's just so bizarre. Like the produce that's in the grocery stores anyways, I always get really weird about because it's always so pretty and perfect, and nobody washes it and nobody actually looks after it, or nobody knows where it came from because everything's so genetically modified in this country.
I wish I was more genetically modified.
You're fine.
So the thing that blew me away about this story, so basically this guy was in a grocery store, and he was putting like veggies and stuff down his pants and rubbing on his butt and put him back. Right. And so then the people at security found him.
Maybe he had like a rash. I don't know.
Yeah. And they were, I hear cucumber's good for this. Right. Do you have any aloe? And so, so they like arrested him, right? And then they said the store had to destroy several pallets of produce after the incident. I don't know how long they let him go, but several pallets?
Why? I don't know. Like, does that?
Like, I understand why you have to throw away the thing that was in his pants, and then all the things that touched the thing that was in his pants, and maybe tertiary things, but several pallets? Like, do you have to empty the store? I don't know.
It's basically like the trickle down of the 5-second rule.
Right.
Oh God. Yeah. Have you seen that meme of like the bacteria? It's like somebody drops food on the floor and they're like, "Stop! We have to wait 5 seconds before we can infect this food." Same thing with genitalia, right?
Yeah. No, absolutely.
No.
It's like a bad episode of Numbers all over again. Just, well, if we track the primary fruit went in and apply the 5-second rule through this entire line of produce.
Yuck.
I wish I had been there, because what I would have done if like if he took an apple and he like rubbed it on his butt and put it back, I would just walk up to the apple and just pick it up and stare at him and just bite into it.
Oh, dude.
And be like, "What the fuck?" And I'd be like,
"Oh, I'm the weird one."
But he'd never do it again, because he'd be like, "Oh, I have no idea where this apple's gonna be after I do this."
Oh.
Either that or he just found his soulmate, Keith.
That's how love stories are made.
Yeah. And baby.
Instead of feeders and eaters, it's the rubber and the eater.
All right, so is it news?
I'm going to say yes, only because it's disgusting as hell.
And you read it, so.
And I read it, and and I remembered it, so there we go. Okay, yeah.
Alrighty, so now we find ourselves in our lightning rounds, because we're kind of running out of time.
Okay.
So we're just going to throw headlines at you. If you have questions, feel free to ask. We may not have the answers, but we're going to keep this quick.
Okay.
Florida man tries to flee in pickup, but it's hooked to the repo man's tow truck.
Florida man tries to flee pickup, but is hooked in pickup, but is because Florida's ridiculous. That goes in.
How did he not notice there was a tow truck attached to the back of his pickup?
So no, the slightly longer thing is he saw the guy trying to repossess his truck and said, "Oh, do you mind if I just grab a couple things out of the dashboard real quick?" And like, yeah, sure. And then he just jumps in, turns on the engine, and floors it, except that his back wheels are already about 4 feet in the air. Right. So it's like this incredibly stupid tug of war.
He just so he must have had a 4-wheel drive, and he thought, I could detach. Just don't. Here's the thing: if a guy does something professionally, and you don't try to outsmart that person. Right? The repo guy's like, yeah, you can go and get your stuff. I'm sure he's not going to try and run away. Right? Like,
I've never seen the Blues Brothers.
Yeah, right. Like,
I was going to say, like, if somebody like Sylvester Stallone or Bruce Willis has tried to do this in a movie and it hasn't worked, then don't do it in real life.
Right.
It just doesn't. Yeah. Nope.
It would have been great if he had tried to leave with the truck and just got the tow truck with it. Like, he dragged the tow truck with it, and he's like, "Now I got a tow truck. I can sell this, pay off the truck, and now I won't be repossessed."
I think that's called stealing.
Well, I've heard it both ways. So
I think that's called finders keepers.
Yes.
Valid. That goes in.
That's it.
Because it's bizarre.
Local pastors attempt to ban books from a banned book display in Maine Public Library.
Sorry, they tried to ban books in an already banned book display?
Yeah. So a group of pastors in Rumford, Maine are attempting to have LGBTQ books banned from the Rumford Public Library display.
LGBTQ.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. Sorry, there's a T there. Okay. I said it wrong.
IA plus.
Technically, it should be plus, right? There's LGBTQ plus.
Yes.
But that's not what this said. So F them. From Rumford Public Library's display of banned books during Banned Book Month. So essentially what the library is saying is, here are books that have been banned and a display of them. And they were like, could you take those down?
I want to name and shame that, because I think that's disgusting. The fact that there's even banned books around LGBTQ plus is diabolical to me.
Right. And the best part is that, like, they're missing the entire point of the Banned Booked Month, right? Like, if you're like, oh, can we take those down? It's like, that's the problem. That's why we're doing this, you idiot. Like, we're literally at that point. Like, we did that once and it didn't work out.
This is in Maine, did you say?
Yeah.
That's where Salem is, right?
Yes.
I visited Salem.
Yeah.
No,
I rest my
Salem's
case.
Massachusetts.
No,
Oh,
Massachusetts.
it's
yeah.
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
Sorry, my bad.
Salem.
A lot of the
basically-
same letters.
They all root for the New England Patriots. It's the
Yes.
same place.
Yes. Yay for Tom.
The
what's
same
his name?
diabolical, awful place.
Yeah.
I like the East Coast, but that again, name and shame, it goes in.
All right, it's in.
Booze Bandit swipes more than $500 in liquor from Piggly Wiggly, leads cops on 3-mile car chase, and gets out to run in cornfield. Surrenders because mosquitoes were, quote, really bad.
So a drunk guy stole some liquor, fled to a cornfield.
So he steals liquor, gets in a car, 3-mile cop chase. It didn't
Ditches
say
the
how
car,
it ended. He just ditched the car, ran into a cornfield, and
And
then
the
came back
mosquitoes
out
got
and
him.
surrendered because the mosquitoes were too bad
that
in the
goes in because
cornfield.
it's funny.
How big were those mosquitoes?
I don't know. The mosquitoes in this country are ridiculous, though.
You think he like ran in there and he got to like the middle of the field and he's like, all right, I think I got away from it. And he like turned and there was a mosquito and it was like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, Jesus Christ. It has a cigar. He's like, I give up. All right. Fine. So that's it. Last but not least, failed attempt to put dead whale in dumpster was quote unquote a mistake, says police department. Quote, we said baby whale, so everyone thought it was a small whale.
I am so confused.
Yeah.
They tried to put a whale into a dumpster.
So when a whale dies, you have to like move it.
Sure.
So you have to put it. They don't make whale coffins
Or blow it up.
or blow. Yeah, no, that was a mistake.
No.
We learned that one. So
Really great dollop
was
about
this
that
was this
one, too.
a whale in the aquarium?
well, no, it's washed up on a beach.
Okay.
And so then they took like a big forklifty thing, front end loader thing, and they picked it up and they were like, what are we going to do with this whale? It was a baby whale, right? And so they were like, poor baby whale. We should take it somewhere so it's not on the beach, just rotting, right? And they were like, and they called and they said, Public Works, we need something to transport a whale in. And they went, oh, what do you think? And they're like, like a dumpster, something like that size, right? And they're like, oh, what kind of whale? And they're like, a baby whale. So they brought a little dumpster. But a baby whale, they found out, is still a whale. It's like
Baby whale's kind of like mid-sized truck.
Yeah, it's a
Oh my
16-foot baby
gosh.
whale. So there's this video of, because people just watched in horror as they took the baby whale and the like forklift operator like tries to like put it like diagonally into the dumpster, like head first with the tail sticking out, and it doesn't work, so it just flops out onto the onto the
My
parking
heart is
lot.
breaking right now.
And then it gets worse because then they're like, we'll be back tomorrow. So they come back tomorrow. So there's just a whale in the parking lot next to a dumpster for like 24 hours. And they bring a big dumpster. Then they're able to transport it. And as you probably, I guess, would. I don't know what you usually do for whale disposal, but
Dynamite.
not that.
Not dynamite. Not dynamite. Not that either.
What I like is the fact that they were like, oh, it's like a baby whale.
So
we'll
we'll
just
just
give
get
this,
like a-
we'll just give you a trash can. Right.
Okay, I'm going to put that in just because I feel like there's so many environmental issues that we need to discuss as follow-up articles.
All right, excellent. That is the end of the weather report. I think I won this week.
Yep.
yeah,
Stretched by one.
just
Ever
by
since
one.
you stopped asking for my approval for the guests, you suddenly seem to be doing better on the weather report.
Well, I knew that she's very good. And so there was no,
Oh, stop.
yes. So excellent. This concludes, and we got, what was it? It was G News. Is that what it was?
Yes, G News.
G News is the name. So go check out your local newspaper selly place. I don't know what they do anymore. The internet. Go to the internet. That's where the news is. Check out G News. It has all of this and more. It's going to be very good. And so how do you feel like you did on your...
I feel like we are, we're here serving the people.
Yeah.
Giving them what they want.
You did good. You're
The truth will come out soon.
editor-in-chief of... This is going really well. Excellent. So you're here with us today because you've got a pretty big show coming up
Yep.
at Deliciously Dangerous Pies. It's Saturday, September 29th down in Washington, D.C.
Went dyslexic again.
Dangerously Delicious Pies, right?
Yeah, you said deliciously dangerous.
Did I? Ah!
Yes.
They should change it. Dangerously Delicious Pies. I'm reading it. I don't know why. I'm just, obviously, I have some type of learning disability, and I'll work on it. I'm going to work on it.
No shame.
That's all
No
I
shame.
can do. So you're releasing your third single from the album Taking Flight.
Yes.
It's called Superhero. It's this great video that shows really, I think it's really in tune kind of with where we are right now in society, how a lot of people are feeling, and some of the struggles we're having, especially between races, right?
Yep.
We're a little lucky now in our times that we're getting away from some of the real blatant racism. Like we have some of the like people lighting things on fire. That's sometimes happening, but we've gotten better at that. Now we're trying to figure out the next step, right? The biases, the things that are not so easy to point a finger at and be like that. We still have those folks. Don't get me wrong. I've met some and I'm like, oh, you are really racist. But
For real.
but in society, I think the thing that we're really focusing on now is that sometimes we just don't know how to act with each other and the biases that exist, because we come from that, right? We've never really addressed it. Some of it has gotten shoved in a corner.
It's really interesting as somebody who didn't grow up in this country, but my mother did. And so like now that I'm living here, I'm realizing more and more why my mother raised me the way that she did, and would constantly tell me, like growing up as, you know, like our Indigenous people in New Zealand are Maori, and we have a very, like we speak two languages, two official languages, cool. Maori and English. And so my friends were both Pākehā or white and Maori or Pacific Island, which I'm Pacific Island. So like to me, race has always been a thing, but my mum's always driven home to me, you're a strong, beautiful black woman. And I'm like, okay, cool story. Like, whatever. Like, why would you tell me? Of course, I knew that.
Why
like,
wouldn't I be?
Duh. But moving here, and you know, late 2015, to DC, it's really like the conversation that I have with people, and it's exactly that. Like, this country, the generations here grow up with these messages passed down from generation to generation about what it means to be them, who they need to be in order to survive, who they need to be in order for their culture to survive, and you know, built-in enemies, built-in allies, and built-in distrust. And that doesn't matter if you're Black American or white or Hispanic or Asian or, you know, subhuman. It doesn't matter. Like purple with polka dots, doesn't matter. Like there are so many things that people are born into coming from a place of fear. Whereas I came from a place where like I myself am proud to be the mother of the daughter of my mother, the daughter of my father. You know, I'm proud to be, you know, having grown up by the river that I grew up next to type thing. That stuff flows through my veins. And so like this whole cross-cultural confusion of what does it mean to be born into these biases? That's what I wanted to do with Superhero.
And I think it shows. And I think you're right. I believe, and granted, I'm the devil right now. You're
a beautiful devil.
As a straight white male, I accept the fact that I am the problem often in all these things. But the thing I think from my point of view is, I think there is a subset of terrible people, right? There's always that. There's people that are like just the evil or like terrible and have no interest in ever changing. The thing that I think we need to be attacking, I'm saddened almost because I think we've turned the word ignorant into a bad word, where we've said like, you're ignorant, therefore you're a terrible person, where we should be saying, because I think that's a big problem right now. I think a lot of what our country's dealing with is ignorance. And it's a lot of people who are like, I mean, I'm not racist. And you're like, I mean, you're kind of doing a racist thing right now. And they're like, really? Like,
is it ignorance or is that oblivion?
Maybe oblivious.
Because I feel like oblivion is like, that's something, when you're ignorant, it's like, you know, shit's bad, but you do not want to do anything about it. Oblivion is like, because like I've traveled to 23 different states in this country since I've been here. And the amount of people who are like, oh, you're a brown person, but you speak well.
Right.
Or you're educated, or, you know, you're not horrible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but I don't think that's ignorance. I think that's just like, y'all haven't met a black person before.
It's true.
Like,
I think there's a lot of people who essentially they see a group of, black kids hanging out on a corner and they go to the other side of the street.
Right.
And it's not because it's not because they dislike black people. It's because they go, I don't understand that. That looks scary. I don't know what's going to happen there. I'm going to be safe and go over here. And it's like, they're just people. You're a person. They're like, I'm
the person that high fives that whole group.
Right. Yeah. Like
Seriously.
they probably want to have as much to do with you as you want to have with them. Like they're not gonna be like, oh, here comes a white person. Great. We were just waiting for that. Right. Like that's weird that we think that way. But I think there's a lot of people who do that go, I heard a news report 5 years ago that a guy got beat up by a gang of black guys. That's what black guys do. And you're like, that seems pretty broad in terms of strokes. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I hopefully somehow we can bring that back into the vernacular and say like, hey, I've noticed that you're being oblivious or you're being ignorant to this. Like, let's work on that. Right. Because I genuinely feel that there's a lot of people with good in them. They just don't know how to express that in a way that's constructive. Right. They do it in the way their grandma done, and that grandma did it the way that grandma did. And so,
there's
hopefully there's hope. We'll see.
There is hope. There's always hope.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and I know this is a buzzword that's kind of like dying a little bit and becoming a little bit trite, but like the whole stay woke thing, which I think is a beautiful concept, but the way in which this person phrased it was not stay woke, but work woke, live woke.
Oh, interesting.
Like being aware of stuff. Is one thing.
Just having your eyes open. Yeah.
But living woke and working woke and letting that awareness like drive what you're doing.
Yeah, leading
I
with
think,
it.
I think that's a much healthier way to give other people opportunities and permission to be like, there's a way that I can rectify my behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think at some point we just have to break up groups, right? Right now we have a gigantic like white group, and I'd really like to see that broken up because I think when we hear about diversity, we think it's like them versus us kind of thing. And that's weird.
Yeah.
But really what we have is we have some Irish people and we have some Italian people and we've got people that are from the country and people from the city. And like there's diversity.
And mudbloods like me.
Yeah. There's diversity through all of us in a bunch of different ways.
Yeah.
And if we recognize that we're not actually part of a group that like we should identify with, that we're all individuals, then it makes it a lot easier to be like, hey, you're also an individual who's different in different ways. Let's learn about each other.
Preach.
I think, I mean, I don't know the answers, right? I'm just speaking off the cuff and Lord knows I'm not, starting any movements or anything, but that's my take on it. So let's take a listen. We don't have your track queued up, so we're going to leave some space and by the magic of post-production, we're going to have Adam, our incredible engineer, take a clip of Superhero, which is a single from your album Taking Flight. It's the third single. And let's take a listen to a few seconds of that, right? 20, 30 seconds of that. Let's do it.
Sure, something like that.
Go.
Perfect.
I breathe the voice of sunlight on a midnight train. I bend over backwards to push away the pain.
All right, so this is fantastic. I had the joy of actually watching the video, listening to the music before the show, so I can speak with authority. I think this is great. I think where it comes from is awesome, and it's something that needs to be said. I love to have art that not only is catchy and not only like something that kind of makes you tap your foot and that you can enjoy and escape to, but also has a message and has something that allows you to grow into it. And I think this does both of those things. So I'm really excited to have you on the show and being able to share this. And so thank you for that. If you're interested in hearing the entire track, fast forward to the 1 hour mark of this show and you can listen to it in its entirety. But without further ado, in the meantime, let's move on to Please God, Just Get One Right.
Speaking of other great music tracks on this show.
This is amazing.
See, I got someone to agree with me.
Yeah, she feels bad for you. She thinks you're deaf or something. Or so this is our own game show that we created. I'm so nervous. Don't be nervous. If you fail, it's fine because we do it every week, and every show is a failure. So your failure will be wrapped with our failure, and it's just going to be inception of failure.
Cool.
We're all in it together.
Great.
So we had a guest last week. It was a Menage a Garage. Of course, they're playing Friday, September 28th at Dangerously Delicious Pies.
Yay, he got it right.
I said it. In Washington, D.C. So right before you, which is Saturday the 29th. So they had to do a whole quiz, and I think they had the band The Monkees. That was their category. That's what they had to answer.
Okay, here with the monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And I think they got one, right? I think they got
3.
Did they get 3? Oh, that's right.
They got the
Really?
Menage trivia, because little did we know we had 2 Monkees fans.
That's amazing.
So I felt good about their chances. I'm not sure about your chances. I'll be honest.
Thanks.
They may have
It's about
tossed.
football, isn't it?
They've tossed you a grenade, I think, a little bit. We'll see.
Grenade, is it Bruno Mars?
No, it's they've tossed you Bruno Mars. So are you ready for your category?
Okay.
Your category is nuns.
Oh wow, we have so much in common. Okay. That's a lie. I'm lying completely.
Oh, good. All my time in the nunnery will pay off now. That's why I didn't move here until 2015.
Yeah, right.
I was busy
Okay.
praising Jesus. All right, so nun trivia. All right, how do you feel?
I'm really quite apprehensive. But okay.
How many do you think you'll get right?
0.
Or none?
None. That is the same thing. Oh God. Bucket of fish.
All right, Adam, start it off.
Living in Mexico during its colonial period, this famous nun was also known as the 10th Muse, the Phoenix of America, or the Mexican Phoenix. She was a self-taught scholar and student of scientific thought, philosopher, composer, and poet of the Baroque school, and Hieronymite nun of New Spain. Who is this famous nun?
The look on your face is priceless right now. It is like
This is one of the most obscure and specific topics we've had so far.
Yeah. The look on your face is like you're just staring at a comet that looks like a skull. Right? Just like, is that
And
real?
that's called circular dialogue, everybody. I'm going to say her name is Lily.
That's a good guess.
Very, very close.
Yeah.
The answer we're looking for is Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz.
Almost had it.
Very close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
If you say it really fast after having a lot of beer, maybe you'll come up with Lily.
Lily.
So.
Cruise. All right. So not that one. That's okay.
Okay,
That's all right.
okay,
That's all
okay.
right. We'll see if we can get a better one here. The Marymount University. Marymount Universities, one of which here in Washington, D.C., are a Catholic institution that are associated with what order of nuns founded in France and called the Teaching Nuns?
What order of nuns?
Yeah, what order of nuns?
I don't even understand that question. Like the order of the Phoenix? Like
Yeah, they have orders. Exactly. It's not Hufflepuff. If that's what
it's Gryffindor. That's my final answer. Gryffindor.
No.
Order of the Gryffindor.
It is
No.
the Religious Sacred Heart of Mary, or RSHM for short. The Religious Sacred Heart of Mary. That's the Teaching Nuns. They're founded in France, and they are the Order of the Religious Sacred Heart of Mary.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and they run Marymount.
That's also very.
Yeah.
I've not visited Marymount yet, so
There you go. Well, when you do,
there
you can
go.
be like,
did you know?
how's France?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
All right, Adam.
All right. We typically think of nuns in their Roman Catholic form, but the tradition exists in other religions, such as Buddhism, Hinduism, Jainism, and Taoism. In the Buddhist religion, what are their nuns known as?
It's good.
Oh, I should know this.
Yeah, you should.
All
of these, really.
I mean, no, but Buddhism is something that I've looked into more. I'll be honest.
You were like, that guy's fat. I like him.
No, it's not that. We don't really have many Buddhists in New Zealand, and there are a few in my hometown, and it's always just fascinated me. And so when I visited Vietnam, I visited a couple of Buddhist temples, so I should know more about this.
Yeah,
but I have no idea. I'm sorry.
So I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, but the name is the Bhikkhun.
Bakun.
Bhikkun. I'm sorry, Bhikkkhun.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Bakun. Yeah, something
Okay,
like that.
Cool.
But
I
yeah,
learned
no,
something
I'm with
today.
you on the Buddhist. I saw like the Buddha and I was like, I relate. I like your style. We
I
could
feel
do
like
this.
you related in it for a different reason.
Yeah, whatever you're doing, I'm doing. We could do this together. It's
You had
good.
more hair.
All right, Keith.
Not much. All right. So, in the 1992 movie Sister Act,
Thank you, Whoopi. Mm-hmm.
Whoopi
And,
Goldberg
Yes.
disguises herself as a nun while hiding from her murderous monster boyfriend. Who plays Whoopi's boyfriend?
Oh, damn. I know for a fact that, what's her name?
Yeah, she's
from
in
the Fugees.
witness protection, I believe, and she goes and becomes a nun. There's a choir and they sing.
Oh, I know
and
the
stuff.
movie. I
Yeah.
love the movie.
And
I'm
there's
trying to hassle my partner into watching the movie with me again.
and there's boyfriend. He's all
I'm-
murdery.
Oh, murdery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Bobby Brown just because the shoe fits. I know, I know it's not him though. No, I can't remember.
No,
No.
Harvey Keitel.
Shut the front door.
Yeah, it's Harvey Keitel.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Because wasn't Lauryn Hill the young girl in that movie?
Oh, I don't know. Was she?
I believe so.
That's pretty cool. I
The
didn't know
young
that.
girl in the
Really?
Yeah.
I never
singer.
put that together.
Mhm.
That's really cool. I'm going to have to go watch that again. I didn't
I was like,
realize.
oh, I know this question because I thought you were going to lead to Lauryn Hill. I'm like,
And
yes.
I went.
But nope.
I went
Harvey
left.
Keitel. There we go.
You thought I was going right. I went left. All
all
right,
good.
that's fine. Adam.
All right. This 2010 thriller film, directed by Joseph Guzman and starring Asun Ortega, David Castro, and Perry DeMarco, is infamous for having two different companies claiming the intellectual property rights of the same movie, suing the same 5,800 plus BitTorrent downloaders. It features a nun known as Sister Sarah attempting to right the wrongs of the church after being abused by a corrupt clergyman.
The look on your face right now is so smug that I'm quite upset
So
right now.
That's just his face.
I used to run help run a website called Tanked Matinee where we watched and reviewed movies exactly like this one. So it was like a nice little.
It's not a good movie.
Okay, so fun fact, I don't watch enough movies because when I was 10, I had brain damage and I've had 10 brain surgeries basically.
What?
And so I stopped watching films as much as I should because I
kept
couldn't
giving
remember
you
them.
brain damage.
So
wow.
I'm shitty when it comes to movie trivia. So I'm just going to like machete. I don't know. Like, I have no idea.
The best guess.
In terms of like genre, you're really, really close. And I can't
gather.
blame you because really no one should see this movie. It's called Nude Nuns with Big Guns.
Wow.
I left out the point where it's titled as a quote nunsploitation film.
Damn. Okay. There we go.
All right, last but not least, let's blow through. You can't just sign up to be a nun one day and then take your vows. A woman must go through an intense training period before becoming a nun. What is this period called? No.
No.
The time of sadness. Lonely time.
No, not lonely. No, you're close with God, right?
Right.
I'm gonna say, I don't know, revisiting my sins.
That's good. No, it's novitiate.
Novitiate. Oh, I
Yeah,
totally knew that.
The novitiate.
Totally knew that.
Yeah, that is it. Now you know.
Now I know.
So unfortunately, you did not get any right. That's okay. That happens. But this is your time to shine, right? Because you can take that embarrassment, that humiliation, and that pain and ball it up into a new category for our next guest and pass that to them.
Okay. So, fun fact, before becoming a full-time musician, I dabbled with the idea of becoming a mechanic for a while.
Cool. All right.
So the topic I'm going to give the next guest, whoever they may be,
Yes.
is going to be V8s, rotaries, and spoons.
V8s, rotaries, and spoons. Okay.
Sounds like the next Clutch album.
You're welcome. Those are all types of engine, in case you're wondering.
I didn't know the spoon engine. I knew the
Yes.
other two. So, all right. So types, can I go with types of engines? Is that cool?
Sure.
Types of motors or engines? All right.
I'll stay true to her original vision.
Thank you.
V8. I'm going to write it underneath.
So
V8.
we're basically having an entire trivia game that's like the final scene in My Cousin Vinny.
Yes.
It's pause attraction. All right.
Perfect.
Excellent. Well, thank you for doing that. Let's move on now. We're getting late in our show, but you've been so much fun. That's the problem.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
we've
sorry.
just been having a blast and getting distracted and talking about fantastic things. So you had 2 stories for us, one near and one far. So
Yes.
let's jump into it. Your near story is about a foggy bottom,
Yes.
which sounds like a personal problem.
Foggy Bottom's an area in
Oh,
DC.
that does make sense.
And GW University's there. I busk there, or I perform there, street perform there every Wednesday. It was winter. I'd just been to Iowa to see my family.
Okay.
And for Christmas, and I was busking in the courthouse one day, and I had a woman come up to me and rush up and say, "Emma, I've been looking for you everywhere." Gave me an envelope and ran off.
Really?
And I'm sitting there going, I'm in a different country. They have poisons here that they can. What do I do here? But okay, cool.
If there's white powder in this, I'm not taking
yeah,
it.
right. So I opened the letter and I read it, and she had fully, it was an letter shape. What do you call it? Standard size letterhead.
Yeah. Okay.
We call it A4 in New Zealand.
Yeah, A4.
You know what that is? Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
A letter-sized letter.
Yes. And it was a fully typed letter describing how much my music meant to her, and how much I had given her strength and hope and resilience in her year working at GW. She had 3 lights in her life: her God, her children, and my music on Wednesday mornings.
Wow.
And she addressed the letter. I was crying when I was reading this.
That's so
yo.
crazy.
And she addressed the letter to Songbird. And so I'd literally just the day before seen this beautiful picture on Instagram of a bird made out of notation. So I was like, this is a sign. Took it to my tattoo artist in Silver Spring. And I know
this is the one on your arm.
beautiful tattoo on my arm, dedicated in part
nice.
to this woman. It's also partly a suicide awareness bird, because the song associates to my ex-boyfriend who committed suicide when I was 17.
Oh my goodness.
And then the safety pin is part of the safety pin movement of I'm a safe person to approach if you're feeling in danger. It started when the
that's
campaign
awesome.
happened. Yeah, so that's my near story.
That's amazing. When I was playing music, I remember I had somebody come up to me at one point and say, the last album you did helped me through a really dark time. I was thinking about committing suicide, and I listened to this album and it got me through that. And I was
Isn't that amazing?
thank you. It's just,
But thank you.
it's just amazing to be able to make something that affects somebody's life. It's it was all worth it, where you're like, all the pains in the asses that it takes to get out there and play music and busk and all of these things. And you're like, cool. Okay. Now I remember that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's,
totally.
It's such a cool thing. So you're
And the
accepting.
most I've ever gotten is someone telling me that they got drunk and had sex to my music. So it's not nearly the same thing. I'm kind of jealous now.
But maybe a baby was made that day, so you could have started.
Oh
a
God, I
legacy.
hope not.
Yes.
Do I look like someone that should inspire children?
Right.
I take the fifth.
Ugly ones.
Ooh.
And so, but that's very cool. So you're accepting letters. If anybody wants to stop by with letters.
Or a hug.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just, yes.
Cool. Well, we have just a few seconds left. You said, do you want to go into your far one?
Sure.
So you changing minds?
Yes. So I used to play in a hard rock band called Static Era. We were on tour one week with a visiting band from Melbourne that was a metal band called Vanishing Point. We had a show in Wellington, the capital, and some skinheads showed up.
Oh,
and
no.
legitimately looked at me and said, the only reason that you're okay to be here is because you're with the band.
Oh, Jesus.
I took myself out of the room, went outside for a bit and meditated, came back and put on the show of my life.
That's the way to respond.
They bought all of my albums.
Seriously?
And we had selfies. It was beautiful.
That's
Music
awesome.
has the power to change lives.
Yeah. Sometimes you just have to show themselves in the mirror and be like, what you're doing is wrong. And they go, yeah, we were way off. Well, thank you so much. Did you have a good time?
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Thank you.
This is Emmett G. She's playing Dangerously Delicious Pies on Saturday, September 29th in Washington, D.C. Go check her out. Go to www.emmagmusic.com for more music and events that are coming up. Please like our posts, follow us, retweet us, share the show on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Don't forget to review us on Facebook, iTunes, and Google Play. If you're an artist, music, or culture creator in the D.C. area and you want to be on our show, email us at booking@anotherwastedhour.com. Thanks to my summer host engineer, Adam, Kevin Eminger, McNally 22, Justin Rogers, Pigmental Records, Pigmental Studios, Alchemical Records for all their contributions. Most of all, thanks to Emma G for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been Another Wasted Hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.
If I could wish away the pain, I would. If I could throw it all away, I would. I'd be the voice of sunlight on a midnight train. I'd bend over backwards to push away the pain. Inside this madness, we rise. Inside this madness, we fight. When the angels open their eyes, how their hearts break to realize all of the mistakes we made at what price. Where's our superhero tonight? If I could free you from